Alright, I'm gonna take a second to like do some audio testing before I actually get started. Shit, where's... if you're here, tell me if like the audio mixing's fine. I was fiddling with it earlier and it should be alright, but I would like some confirmation. I'm just gonna mess around in the void for a bit to get some testing with actual combat noises. Maybe for about 5 minutes, then actually get started. Alright. Alright. Does that sound alright? Yeah, it seems like it's alright, so... probably wait another minute or two and then actually get going. Starting with the prologue's probably redundant, but honestly, whatever. Actually, while I... can I set that up? You know, whatever, I'll figure that out later. Alright. Let's get going. I mean, I didn't really necessarily say this in the description, but Prologue and Mission 8 are going to be given exceptions since you are supposed to die in them. I don't actually expect to beat Urizen in those two. Especially since, like, Mission 8 especially, he starts doing actually comical damage. Devil Breakers aren't going to matter for this mission, but I guess I'll just get ready for Mission 1. Mission 1's just a bunch of box standard enemies. I actually probably don't need to bother at all, so I'll just kind of pick a more or less random set. Then just end with a Gerbera. I like having Gerbera. Gerbera is nice just for mobility utility, in my experience. I mean, it, and honestly Overture are probably my most used Devil Breakers. They're pretty basic, but they work, and like I said, mostly the mobility part of Gerbera is nice. I forgot to enable Divergence. I should probably do that before I get any further. I mean, that's not going to matter until Mission 4, but still, kind of important. Alright. Fucking idiot. Alright, guess we're not using Punchline. I've been playing with the Breaker Switcher, which uses the D-pad to switch Devil Breakers instead of... normally I have Breakaway set to D-pad, so I just completely wasted that punchline. Even on DMD, Impulses ain't particularly durable. That's actually a vaguely entertaining story. First time, after I finished Son of Sparta for the first time, I immediately ran this on DMD. And this room, there's a Queen Impusa that spawns in this room that fucking killed me the first time. Queen Impusas are probably like the non-boss enemy that I've had the most issue with throughout my time playing this game, actually. I mean, just yesterday I was doing Bloody Palace for a bit of practice first. I died on floor 97 by getting too aggressive with the Queen Impusa on that floor. Alright, for anyone who is watching this and doesn't know how DMD works, the main enemies are roughly twice as durable as they are in Devil Hunter, and on top of that, they actually go into Devil Trigger either in a certain state, like for example, Proto-Angelos go into it if their shield is broken, or just if they're alive for long enough. Not Proto-Angelos, Scudo-Angelos. And in Devil Trigger, they take half damage from that, so DT'd enemies are roughly 4 times as durable as they are in Devil Hunter. And on top of that, they deal a shitload of damage in DT. Like, if this guy hits me, which I don't know if he will, it'll do like 6 bars of health, and it's a lot. And there is a reason I died to this guy my first time. Again, that was the grab. He was gonna keep chowing down on me if I didn't DT to get out of it. That honestly, that might have killed, I'm not sure. But yeah, just the grab did like 5, and that's, you know, the first hit. It doesn't do that much normally. So if I'm not careful, I will absolutely get fucked up. I did pick Nero since Nero's my favorite of the 4 characters, which not a particularly common stance from what I'm aware, but it's mostly just down to the fact that Red Queen has the most complete moveset of any weapon. Like that. Fucking, I forgot about the chair. Wait, oh, since this is Divergence, is he just like not gonna show up? I can't. Is it just gonna end? That doesn't seem right. No, there he is. I completely forgot that he's on a plastic chair since I do have that mod. There's no fun in not trying here, so even though I will absolutely die, I'm gonna see how much work I can get in. It'll be funny if I actually do it, though. Not gonna happen, but... This is the thing about the Mission 8 fight of this. Is that... Ow. Mission 8 fight is just the crystal, and then you die in that later part, but in this fight, if you want to win, you also have to get rid of his health bar, which on the lower difficulties you can do, only breaking the crystal once, but higher difficulties you're probably going to have to break it multiple times, which is a bit harder, believe it or not. Something you're going to see a lot throughout this is that if Snatch brings Nero to the enemy instead of bringing the enemy to Nero, I'm probably just not going to use it on that enemy, because I always feel like that makes you more open than I'd like to be, and often puts you in awkward positions, so I'll just go for using Caliber or something else to get close, which, actually, that applies in general. Caliber is probably my favorite means of approach, that and Payline. I might be able to do half. I mean, I'm not gonna... I could absolutely, like, do stuff like use my, current Devil Breakers to deal a lot more damage, but I don't really think there's much point. There we go. Yeah, about half. I'll take that. Because I'm absolutely going to die if I get hit again. Yep, there we go. Yeah, Prologue is straightforward and you're supposed to die, so I'm not horribly saddened about that. Mission 1's not particularly hard either. The boss is hardly even worth calling a boss, and you have to fight like 6 enemies until then, so this mission's not gonna... The first mission that's gonna have any, I think, real threat is Mission 4, just because the boss blows. And after that, probably not again until Dante's missions, which are roughly halfway through the game. These first 10 aren't gonna be that hard.
I've got some cleaning up to do. Why not?
I've played DMC4 as well, and going from this to that, like, especially, I mean, for both Nero and Dante, the way, how differently they play there is just kind of wild. In Nero, the key thing is that he doesn't have his Devil Breakers, and additionally, Payline and Hardway don't exist, which, considering those are probably 2 of the moves I use the most, just because they're great for mobility. It's really weird going into 4 and not having them. Devil Breakers I can live without, because I admittedly don't use them all that much, aside from breakage moves. Overture and Gerbera are really the only 2 I use otherwise. Occasionally Punchline, but some, like, Ragtime I basically never use unless it's breakage. That was bad. Although at least he still has Caliber in 4, which is one of the best moves he has, so I'll take that. Alright, can't fucking press L2 with timing anymore. That's gonna hurt. Never mind, he entered DT right after. You know what? I'm not gonna argue. Antinoras are a weird enemy type in this difficulty. I mean, they function basically the same. It's just that if you're, like, first time playing through this difficulty, if you're not careful and you set them into their Berserk state in DT, you'll just get whacked from off screen if you're not paying attention. Did not want to do Shuffle, I wanted to do Caliber. Alright.
Right now. Let's get airborne. Are they collecting human blood? It's not just about feeding. There's something else. Right now.
I'm not even gonna... Alright, never... you know, maybe I will kill these... Oh, that was an accident. Maybe I'll kill these Kindness just for the hell of it. I think in terms of, like, normal, like, low-tier enemies, the one that's gonna pose the most threat throughout this is, Riots. Because Riots are a little bit armored, so they can sometimes just power through your hits. And they have a bunch of moves that they'd come at you really quickly for not paying attention, so it's very possible I'll get just fucking smacked from the one that I'm not paying too much attention to and take a shitload of damage. Although, something this game does have that's super easily exploitable and extremely helpful is that if an enemy isn't on screen, they won't attack you. Well, that's not strictly true. It's they won't do the tell before their attack, and they need to do that tell before they attack, so if an enemy does the tell but then goes off screen, they'll still attack you, but if you keep an enemy off the screen, they're not really a threat until they're on screen for a little bit. And that's mostly usable in Bloody Palace just because of the way that arena is set up. It is still applicable sometimes in-game, but eh. Yeah, this boss, like I said, is hardly even a boss because you can just kind of wail on it. It's basically just a blob that stands there and occasionally tries to prod at you. That Antinora, see what I mean? He was off screen, but he was in his Berserk state, so if I didn't know he was coming, he could have just whacked me. Anyway. Not a hard fight in the slightest. Goliath is really the first boss of the game, but he's not that... Well, he is hard if you're kind of careless and it's your first time playing through, but on repeat playthroughs and you know how he works, he's really not in the slightest bit hard. 9,000, Christ. I mean, the first difficult boss, per se, is probably going to be Mission 8 Urizen. Either that or... Like I said, in Mission 4, Nidhogg, just because Nidhogg is not good, is probably going to be a pain in the ass, and especially since Nidhogg is not designed to be fought with anyone but V. Virgil can get away with it just because Judgment Cut is pretty busted. But Nero and Dante have a much rougher time handling Nidhogg. Yeah, Helter Skelter. With this mission, you can just bring a bunch of Gerbras and you can just cheese the ever-loving shit out of the hotel section. Because if you do a mid-air breakage Gerbra, it pretty much just shreds through the rims, but that's a bit too cheap, so I'm not going to do that. Like I said, these early missions, my Devil Breaker Luddite doesn't really matter that much. Because none of the enemy formations are going to be too particularly difficult, mostly just the lesser hells and Pusas for the most part. I mean, I think next mission is the first time we run into Riots, and they're a little bit of an issue. And Lisakias appear next mission, which alone are not at all an issue, but there's one that is with a bunch of Riots that can be a problem.
Need to catch up fast.
I think the only... Well, we saw that in that last mission, but other than that, it's just going to be the lesser hells and Pusas and Death Scissors until then. I don't think Angelos appear until Mission 7, even on higher difficulties. since the Mission 7 boss is when they're normally introduced. Since I've played this at 4, I could kind of compare the two. I mean, it's not a hot take that this game is just better than 4. Though, one thing I think this game does lack in compared to 4 is that I really prefer the Angelo enemies in 4. I think Biancos and Altos are much more interesting to fight than Scudos and Protos. But Protos and Scudos are still pretty fun. Pretty sure you can parry that attack, but I'm not nearly as comfortable with it as I am the normal ones. You can stop whenever you want. I can wait. Death Scissors, for anyone who's not particularly familiar with them, there's a couple of ways we can handle them. You could just... they'll guard most attacks. You can break their scissors, it just takes a while. But the... kind of like the best way to handle them is to parry their attacks, which puts them in a state where they're able to get one shot. This guy doesn't seem to want to do an attack I can parry very well, so I'm just going to go in. They'll do that attack if you wail on their guard too much, which, I mean, you can actually parry that one too, which is pretty funny, but other than that, they're honestly not that hard to take down. Just kind of wail on them, or go for the parry. It's when they're with other enemies. There's a fight later on that has, I think, 3 Death Scissors with a Fury, and that fight can be pretty rough. If only because Furies are probably the hardest enemy type in the game to handle, normally. But having the 3 Death Scissors around makes him even more of a pain. But that's not till much later.
Let's get airborne. Not making it easy for me, huh?
Like that's Mission 16. That's, I think the first Fury we're gonna run into is Mission 8 actually. Which on Devil Hunter you only fight like 1 or 2 Furies. It's actually dependent on which way you go in Mission 16 if you fight more than one, because otherwise it's just the introductory one in Mission 12. But on Son of Sparta and higher, the first Fury is Mission 8. Then there's 2 in Mission 10. There's 1 in 11. And then the introductory fight in 12 actually has 2. Is yours? No. And if you really don't want to bother with Death Scissors, you can just bring Helter Skelter and just smash it. You'll break through their guard pretty quickly. Or with ease. Although they actually have to guard first for that to be worthwhile. Yeah, welcome to the method of taking down Death Scissors if you don't want to try. Not gonna need that anymore.
Let's get airborne.
Since Divergence is on, pretty much every cutscene's gonna get skipped. Even the ones, like, in actual Nero missions, just because it doesn't really assume that you're playing Nero.
Yeah, I can make this work. Just hack
Which does suck, because some cutscenes are great, and I would actually like to have, like, enemy introduction cutscenes still play, but tough.
Which way did I
This fight's completely optional, I'm just gonna do it for the hell of it. And maybe to demonstrate what I mean by the... Actually, yeah. This is kind of what I mean by the Gerbera air breakage being busted in these hotel missions. Because it just fucking shreds to shit. In terms of basic enemies, I think Antinoras are probably, are strictly speaking the most durable ones. But Riots, another reason why they're so damn annoying on this difficulty is that they have this tendency to go into Double Trigger immediately, which just makes them a real pain in the ass. Like, on top, Double Trigger makes enemies a little bit armored on top of whatever base armor they have in the case of Riots. On top of the damage and durability boosts, it makes, like, Riots especially are just a pain in the ass once they're in DT, which happens pretty much immediately, so it's great. You want to come up here? Man, I can go down there, but you can jump up here too, dude. Alright, never mind.
That was the Ford's fault, not mine. This again?
That's kind of what I mean by these early missions are just kind of going to be stomps. Because the hills, the lesser hills aren't particularly dangerous enemies. At least, Antinoras can be if you're just, you have to be not paying attention for that. Kainas are really not worth considering, and same with Empusas. Most dangerous enemy in this mission probably is the Death Scissors, honestly. Maximum bet is a skill I'm going to use all of like 3 times because I think it's honestly pretty bad in this game. On 4 it actually does pretty decent damage, so I find it to be useful every now and then, but this game it just doesn't do enough for how vulnerable you are doing it. I guess its main use is probably supposed to be like getting like a sort of getaway and crowding tool, but just I don't know, I don't like it very much. Of the DT moves, Showdown is much more useful, and even that one's not horribly practical because of how long its startup is. It's mostly a enemy is stunned and you don't feel like bustering it. And even then, like, the Buster Arm specifically is super busted. Because the Buster Arm breakage is basically an instant kill on any normal enemy and does a lot of damage to most bosses. Some bosses, honestly, the Buster doesn't do that much. Even the Super Buster. But generally speaking, that's still a better option than Showdown. Although there are some bosses where you can get both in, like Malphus, that's not hard to do. And that's a lot of damage. Could totally skip this next fight just by air hike and air taunt, but for the hell of it. Not even gonna call Nico. Actually, I don't think I have to since playing Divergence should already be there. Because I don't know if this used to be the case, but I'm pretty sure Divergence just kind of uses the version of the level that Virgil gets. So the van's already there, and stuff that's breakable with Nightmare is already broken. So even if cutscenes played, we wouldn't be seeing the Nico cutscenes, which is a damn shame. God. That was shit exceeding. You're not going to be seeing many table hoppers throughout this, I'm going to be real. I'm not good at it.
Not gonna lie.
Same reason I don't use Royal Guard very much. My timing with that is not particularly good. Royal Guard I get away with using against bosses like Cavalier, Cerberus, and Virgil mostly. The rest of them I can't even do it that well. But I'm not playing Dante, so that's not relevant. I have a Buster Arm, right?
Yeah, maybe I will. Sorry I'm about to kill you.
This is Goliath. He's the first like actual boss of the game, and he can totally catch you off guard. If you aren't expecting to have to be at least a little bit careful in the first playthrough. And honestly, even here in DMD, he can catch you kind of off guard. Like that hit didn't do all that much damage, regardless. He's a boss that's mostly dangerous once he's in DT, which yeah, that applies to a lot of enemies. Later bosses are where like you need to be careful the entire time on DMD because like, say, I think Mission 17 Urizen's a pretty good example. And that's that, like, his punches and kicks do still, like, 5 bars, even out of DT. He hits like a fucking truck, which, combined with the fact that he's chunky as shit, makes that I'd actually argue he's the hardest fight in the game. But that's, that is not today. Probably not today. I doubt I'm gonna play through all of this today. I'll probably do it like mission 10 or something. Like mission 17 years, and when I played through DMD the first time, was the boss I had the most trouble with. And I expect, if there's any point I'm gonna die in this, my guess would be it's either 12, 17, or 18. Because Nightmare is a brutal boss too, and mission 12 years, and I've just never been good with. And Nightmare is just really hard, and as it is a boss that Nero does not fight ever, normally, some things don't work against it. Like, for example, you can't place overture bombs on V's familiars. At least not in my experience. Which kinda fucking blows. So that fight will be rough as hell when I get there. Well, assuming I get there, which I probably will. I'm not gonna say I'm like a style god, but I am good with Nero. So I should be able to get there. But who knows, maybe I'll royally fuck up mission 12 or 17. Those are the other 2 points I'm most concerned about. Sin King Cerberus has the potential to mess me up. But I should be able to get past him. But other than that, I'm not too concerned about much. I did not grab a Buster on Haas. Well, I'd like to show... Yep, I was about to say, I'd like to show his outside Buster, so... Not only will I get to do that, that'll be how the fight ends, probably. Nope, barely. Come on. Alright, good fight, Goliath. Like I said, not a particularly hard fight, just kind of the introduction to the fact that bosses are chunky as hell on DMD. And they only get chunkier. Mostly we'll see that with Urizen. Oh yeah, this mission... The hardest part about this mission is honestly the riots. Just because riots in enclosed spaces are remarkably dangerous on this difficulty, especially with how early they tend to go into DT. Artemis is not a hard fight, and then there's the Death Scissors introduction, which also isn't very rough. Yeah, I'll bring Tomboy for the hell of it. I don't use Tomboy very much, I prefer to use my normal moveset, but it's nice to bring it along every so often. Actually, I'll bring a Buster Arm. Please. Bring a Buster Arm just to fucking obliterate the second Lusakio. Generally speaking, the enemy design in this game is pretty good, but it's hard to argue with the fact that bats are basic as hell. A lot of enemies in this game are returning. I think the bats might be, but like I said, bats are also a pretty basic design, so who knows. Like, I know Helkainas, Nobodies, and Death Scissors are returning enemies. And I think Judeka's derived from something from the reboot, I'm actually not sure. Other than that, actually, I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure Antinoras are new.
Gotta start somewhere.
Riots and Chaoses are just kind of similar to past enemies, but I don't think they're necessarily returning. I know Baphomet's derived from, originally, they were gonna, like, expand upon an enemy line from DMC2, and then they just made Baphomet's. Yeah. There's not a ledge down there. Fuck. Oh good, he went to DT immediately. This guy's gonna take a little while. If you look at the top right, thanks to the same mod that made this so I'm playing in turbo mode, it shows the enemy health as I attack them. You can kind of see that Antinoras are enemies in DT really in general, but Antinoras here are a pretty good example of enemies being fucking chunky as hell. Nice whiff. That should do it. I'm not going to bother with the red orb cluster. It's just a bunch of red impulses, which is not much interesting about that. It's just kind of a time sink. Would give me more DT, but I'm not that concerned about it.
Taking this fucking thing down.
You know, I've forgotten how these work. These things are all in like 3 missions. Which, yeah, actually, the snatch points in 4 are kind of like that too. They're in like 3 missions, and somehow they still make the most annoying part of the game in mission 3. I could just ramble, bitching about DMC4 for a while, because I do like DMC4. Mostly I like playing as Nero, just because I think Nero is fundamentally fun to play. But, like, enemy design and some of the puzzles in DMC4 just kinda suck. Also, this is what I mean by Riot's going a DT immediately. Look at this asshole. Makes him a pain in the ass. And Riots have a, one of their attacks is like a 2-hit that does just a metric shitload of damage in DT. It's great. That would have been it. If that connected, that would have hit a lot. But, you can kill him that quickly, it's not really an issue. This is going to be our first Osekian. He's not going to get to do much since I'm just going to bully him, but Osekias can provide a pretty tangible threat later on with with actual enemy formations. That attack especially, if you don't interrupt them, does a fucking lot. It does like 7 bars out of DT. I've never been hit by it with them in DT, but it's probably an instant kill if I'm gonna guess. Speaking of instant kills, it just made me think of something about DMC4. Blitzes are an enemy type in DMC4 that are an actual crime. They are legitimately horrific. Like, I heard people bitch about them before I played DMC4, and I was like, alright, how bad can they be? The answer, extremely. Especially on higher difficulties. Because the gimmick about blitzes is that they just kind of teleport around a lot, but the main crime they have is that they are surrounded by an electric shield that repels melee attacks until you shoot them a bunch, which takes a long time. Mostly with Dante. Nero, it's basically a level 3 charge shot or 2. But as Dante, it takes forever. And they teleport around with attacks that have basically no tells while doing that. But then you get the whale on them once the shield's out, which, as Nero, is pretty nice. Dante, it's still kind of rough. Just because Nero, you could buster them 4 times in a row if you handle it right, which is basically just immediately taking care of them. But then, as a last kick in the teeth, they have to enter a desperation state before they die, which puts them into that electric shield state again. Wow, I did not use like any double breakers before this. I brought the Buster Arm for this Susekia, but I had to get there first. I still have no fucking idea what the condition that puts Riots into DT so early is, because for most enemies it is a condition. Like I said, Scudo Angelos, you break their shield, that puts them into DT immediately. This is gonna hurt. Okay, never mind, I dodged him. Riots just have this tendency to get into it. Anyway, like I was saying, talking about blitzes, bitching about them more accurately. The blitzes, in their desperation phase, you have to shoot them to death, again, which, considering they can go to it from like a 3rd health, it could take fucking forever. And they attack even more aggressively than they do before. But the real kicker is that they have a grapple move that on DMD is an instant kill. It just kills you unless you escape it with DT. It blows. Blitzes are probably the worst enemy type in that game, though that's not to say there aren't others that are actually horrible. Mephistos and Fausts are an enemy type that I heard people bitch about a bit, but I actually thought they were fine. Mostly as Nero. It's Dante, they're a pain in the ass. Nero, you just kind of snatch him a bunch. The way Mephistos and Fausts work is that they have this like little foggy shield that stays there and makes it so that they take basically no damage until you snatch it away, pretty much, or shoot it. Then after that, you can just wail on them. Like, Fausts are pretty much the only normal enemy I ever bother trying to showdown, because it takes care of them immediately once their shield's gone. And they are annoying, but they're not quite the crime that Blitzes and Chimeras are. Chimeras, another enemy type that I wish didn't exist. And probably the core reason why the forest area is the actual worst in DMC4 is that they start as Chimera Seeds, which are these little things that you can just instantly kill by bustering them. But if they attach to a Scarecrow or an Assault, they make it so that that enemy has a little parasite on it that intermittently pretty much just makes it have like an aura of damage, like swinging blades, that makes it so you basically can't fight them for a little bit. Which is extremely annoying because it doesn't have a tell and it can happen like while you're juggling them or bustering them, and it just they are not good. Then even like some of the normal enemy types in DMC4 are pretty annoying too, like Assaults. I dislike because they're armored a bit like Riots are, except it just always feels like they're armored a little bit more than Riots ever are. That was the parry kill for Death Scissors, by the way, since I hadn't actually done that yet, since the one in Mission 2 decided not to cooperate. Anyway, I guess I should stop bitching about DMC4 and start actually talking about the upcoming boss. We're about to run into Artemis, who's not a hard fight. I know she's like referential to DMC3, which I haven't played yet because I'm an idiot. But this fight's really not at all hard, I think. I actually don't think I've ever died to Artemis. But Artemis is it's a ranged focused boss, which you can absolutely snatch around. I mean, her movement's kind of annoying to the point where it can be difficult to stay caught up with her just by snatching. But at some point, she brings out her two little drones that you could snatch onto. These things, you could shoot them, and then, if I could demonstrate, you snatch onto them and they bring you straight to her, which is a neat little thing. Which is actually, I think, referential to the Sanctus fight in 4, considering he has something extremely similar. She has, like, Getaway move, which is super telegraphed. I'm just dumb and didn't react quickly enough. If I wasn't already fully exceeded, this would actually give me a chance to get some more. Idiot. I can't exceed? Hello? Is my controller unplugged? Swear to God. There we go. I'm just being bad. Okay, not what I wanted. This might be bad. You know, I've never actually seen what she does if you don't stop her here. So maybe this will be a learning experience. Never mind. This will do a lot since it's kind of what I mean by the Buster Arm Super Breaker. Super Buster does just a ton of damage. It basically instant kills normal enemies. It does a solid amount against bosses. Like, it would just look at that chunk. I'm not going to bother Tomboy. If I was going to use Tomboy, I would have been in that room with the second Jekka. About to say that should have hit. You wanna quit that? Oh, that's gonna hurt. Yep. I think you can bust her out of this, but I'm actually not sure. I've never landed it myself, and I'm not gonna try right now since I'm pretty injured.
Your voice is so
There you go.
annoying.
Have a present.
How about I shut you up? Open up, girl!
I Alright, well, I guess you can do that.
Let's get airborne right now.
I get why Nero tends to target these little satellites before Artemis, but it is really annoying when I have a level 3 charge shot, he just hits one of them instead of her. Ow. Then with a charge shot detonates, that should do it. Yeah? No? Guess not. Like I said, not a particularly hard fight. This next mission's probably going to be the first one I run into any real measure of difficulty, just because Nidhogg blows. You know, I had a... Cursed me, I had an overlay thing, that was the chapter number, and I haven't updated it. Maybe I should do that. Mission 4. What do we got? There's like 3 behemoths in this mission, which is kind of wild, but that's really all of note I can think of in terms of enemy information and my controller stopping working. Okay, so there's 3 behemoths. Yeah, that's really it. Just got a bunch of usual stuff. It's also the first nobody of the game, but that's not particularly threatening either. Maybe I'll just... Oh, yeah, right, this isn't a Nero mission, she's not going to have a recommended set. You know, maybe I'll give Tomboy some love. If I'll use the Devil Breakers, I'm probably not going to use much the rest of the game. Just Pasta Breaker. Pasta Breaker's a fucking meme. It's not useful, but I'll bring it anyway. I'll bring a Buster Arm. That should just wipe out a Behemoth or the Nobody. Oh, there's also Judekas towards the end. Of my last 2 be a Ragtime and a Buster Arm to deal with those. That's not supposed to happen. I'm gonna take a second to turn network off, since evidently I didn't. Yeah, let's turn that off. Alright. Actually. Yeah. Alright, let's run that back.
Let's get airborne right now.
Good job. Trust me, I'm good at Nero. As I get hit by the second Imbusa of the level. Tomboy, I get it, but it's a bit too unwieldy, and I just don't really care much for the moves it gives. So I usually just go for... I pretty much never use it. It's probably my least used Devil Breaker. If you don't know how to exceed worth a damn, then I can totally see its merit, but I've played Nero enough between the 2 games that I can exceed most of the time. Sometimes I just completely can't, but generally speaking. So, no, I'll use it against the Behemoth, the first Behemoth, but past that I'm probably just going to break it, and then you might just never see it again for the rest of the playthrough. Like, it is a neat Devil Breaker, I just don't care much for it. that's the behemoth, yeah. Hey, bro. Oh, he's gonna go underground. Okay. Are you... That was fast. Okay. He'll take a while to kill now. Behemoths, sorry, I think have the highest health value of any given enemy in this game. Also, yeah, Tomboy doesn't work with DT. Which is another reason why I don't care much for it. The thing about Behemoths is that while they have like the highest raw health out of any given demon in this game, any non-boss demon, the Buster move on them does a lot of damage, and if you attack their tongues, that does a lot of damage. But still, they do take a while to take down, especially if they go into DT as early as this asshole did. Hey, look at me. Look at me. He's gonna do like his just charging attack, and I'm gonna get rinsed. I don't even know how much that did. That did like 200. Alright, goodbye. That attack is extremely dangerous. that was a risk going for that parry. Rawhide is like made for parrying, but it was still risky. Yeah, like these guys. First time I played DMD, there's one of the ow. That's kind of what I mean. That's what I was about to say. Is that they do a lot. They do a shitload of damage. If I do the Bloody Palace thing with the damage modifier, the first 80 floors are gonna go fine, and then the last 20 floors I'll get hit once, and you'll probably get one shot. Honestly, that'll be great. Because boy, do enemies in DT hurt a lot. I'll use the B combo a lot throughout this playthrough, just kind of for variety's sake, but practically speaking, I think it sucks. It just doesn't do a lot of damage. Comparatively to the C combo, which is great for crowd control and does decent damage, and the D combo, which just does a lot of damage. A combo is whatever. I think this fight's optional, because there's not a, there's actually nothing blocking me from continuing. Which is weird, because this is like the fight that introduces Nightmare, normally. So you'd think it'd be forced, but I guess not. Because yeah, there's no barrier. So it's just kind of here. Speaking of optional fights, I'm about to go do another one. It's actually quite a few optional fights in this mission. Most of them are. I'll take that. You don't see many of those in this difficulty. Mission 16 is a weird example, like a weird instance, because that mission just hands out white orbs like candy. Which, I mean, is great. It means you get to spam Sin to double trigger, but still weird. Alright. This next fight's where we're going to be seeing the first nobody of the playthrough. Nobodies are a weird enemy type. They basically have the different masks that affect their moveset, but they're also remarkably chunky. They are a returning enemy for DMC1, and apparently they're supposed to have a dance that drains TT. I don't think it does that in this game. I think it just summons another nobody if you let them be. So I've never noticed it draining my DT, at least. Alright, well, that timing was unfortunate. I just see him getting bullied by the punchline and behind. Hey, bro. Already in DT, alright. Although another thing about nobodies is that their masks are limited, and you can parry them while they're putting on a new mask. And if you do that with all their masks, they get sent into this like just kind of super dejected state where they just kind of cower away from you and die pretty much without any more effort from there. We'll probably see that at some point, but evidently not on this guy. Still gotta kill something with the Pasta Breaker. Pasta Breaker is really not useful, but I am gonna see if I can get some work with it. It's basically just like a worse punchline that has the weird extra utility of kind of shuffling your Devil Breakers. I think the specific way it works is that it sends the next one in a line to the back of your magazine, which I'm sure there's some strategies that can be worked with that, but honestly, whatever. Usually I just prefer to plan out my breakers based on the fights that I'm going to run into that mission. Because I know pretty much all the... I have like 170 hours in this game. I've been playing it a lot since I got it with Christmas sale. So I know most of the enemy format layouts. Fucking words. The missions I'm going to know the least reliably are the V missions, but honestly, there's only 3 of them that I have to think about that for, because mission 14 is just a mini boss rush. And I vaguely remember the next mission's enemy layouts. This mission, I know that the last forced fight has a Judeka. That's about it. And there's a behemoth lying around here somewhere that I can fight, but don't think that guy's required either. Next mission, I know there's an introduction to Queen Ampusa, so we'll be fighting one of those. You fight a Judeka and I think some nobodies. There's actually not a lot of fighting in Mission 5. That mission shouldn't take long. I think Garion might take a while, just because keeping up with Garion as Nero's a pain in the ass. Dante and Virgil can teleport after him, but Nero just kind of has to see what you can do. Okay, the behemoth hasn't spawned yet. Sometimes I've seen the behemoth spawn already and kind of show up when I'm in that area, but he does spawn over here. There he is. Is that him? Nope, that's kinda. Oh, he's supposed to spawn. Oh no, maybe he won't. Where you at? It's Nero. Where's the big fella?
Go, baby, go!
Nice whiff. The lesser hells are pretty much like the standard basic enemy in this game, which is to say the Kainas and Antinoras. Because Ampusas are super weak and are mostly just style fodder / killers, if you're not paying too much attention. Riots and Chaos is kind of, but not nearly as much. Ah, shit. Alright, give me a second. Memory serves. Here you go. Yeah, just like keeps him up there. Right, that'll do it. Shit, a chunk. I'll say one of the weirdest things going to DMC4 from this game is the fact that Nero's DT in 4 doesn't give him any damage resistance. So you have to be like remarkably careful with it comparatively to this game. Anyway, Judeka's normally a pain in the ass. Just gonna do this. There, he's dead. Judeka's just teleport a lot, which make them kind of a pain in the ass to deal with, but if you just do that. Alright, Nidhogg. Christ.
There's no no such thing as too prepared.
Fucking hate this guy. It's probably gonna be. I don't know if you can bust your Nidhogg, since Nero is not supposed to fight him in any circumstance. So I might just try to showdown him. Punchline might be useful to damage while I kind of walk around. Let's just see how that works. This fight sucks. I don't think I'm gonna die, I just think it's gonna take a while. Because this fight isn't particularly interesting even as V, and then with other characters it just straight up kinda sucks. Nice. Oh yeah, I should've healed. Oh, whatever. That should deal a decent amount. At some point he's gonna bail and I have to, Yep. I'm gonna have to actually kill these things. This fight is V, you just kinda hang around, read your book, and let the summons do all the work, which is V in general. That's not necessarily fight specific. But having to actually go in and hit these things kinda sucks. Like I said earlier, Virgil could just kinda judgment cut them, since just frame judgment cut does a lot of damage. Best ranged option in the game, easily. God. What a pain in the ass. You know, I might just do this. Give me a second to focus on this guy. Well, I have already done like half. Fuck. Watch me die here just because Nidhogg sucks, god. That'll be extremely anticlimactic if I die to Nidhogg. Although it is a very real possibility with this fight. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Can get a showdown in now. This fight also has a penchant for glitching, I feel. I don't know if we'll see it, but on multiple occasions it had to be that he backs out, and then his other tentacles back out. He's in DT, he'll probably one-shot me if he hits again. But I've had it where he backs out with his tentacles, and then he comes back, and instead of his tentacles, it's like 3 other Nidhoggs. It is kinda wild. Oh, now he's in DT. Alright, weird. Since I'm out of breakers, that kinda sucks. Okay. God, this fight is so not good, and I really should have healed. I completely forgot that Sweet Surrender was an option. Oh well. Okay. Certainly suppose you can do that. Level 3 charge shot does a lot of damage, but I am gonna play like a bitch just because I don't like this fight and I don't. Oh, is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do the thing? Oh, he did! I'm pretty sure this is a glitch. This might be intentional, but I certainly think it's a glitch. This is just so bizarre, I can't imagine it's intentional. Alright, charge me. There we go. Yeah, I would never have been able to live it down if I died to Nidhogg, so. Oh god, that's over with. And like I said, that was probably the mission I was most concerned about for a while. Okay. Stream's bitrate's fucked. Great. Oh, and it looks like that's been happening the entire time. Well, I'd be lying if I said I really knew what I was doing, so I'm not sure if there's much I can do about that. Alright. Whatever. Alright, Mission 5. Yeah, Mission 5's pretty short. I just remembered that Gilgamesh exists. I just remembered. Gilgamesh is not a good fight. Not a hard fight. Not a good fight. Oh god, the first fight in this mission is actually probably going to be the most dangerous one. This is probably the first time I'm going to actually be like setting up my breakers in a way that I can be efficient. The nobodies I'm not that worried about, so I'll use kind of standard fare against them. But the Buster Arms are for the Judeka and the Queen and Pusa.
Let's get airborne. Right now.
Hey, bitch. This fight's a pain in the ass just because Riot's in an enclosed space. However, Gerbera's funny. Like that's probably the best example of how good the Gerbera breakage is in enclosed spaces, because it just shredded the first like 3 of those guys. That's probably the best mileage you're going to be getting out of it, because most fights in later missions are not as tightly packed. So I don't think we'll be getting quite as much out of that. There's a few fights in like maybe mission 15, but not really for the most part.
Let's get airborne.
Mission 9 is probably the next place we're gonna get work out of it. Well, actually, no, scratch that. Mission 7. Also, thanks, Gilgi. Tangentially related, since Gilgamesh is a weapon in 4. I don't like how Gilgamesh controls in 4. It's the gauntlet weapon in 4, for anyone who's not aware. Which Dante has a gauntlet weapon in every game except 2. And, Gilgamesh is just kind of slow. My audio's glitching. Cool. But Gilgamesh is just like really slow, and I don't like using it. And part of that's that Balrog in this game controls super well. Balrog is also the most unique of the gauntlet weapons, due to the fact that it's basically 2 weapons. It's 2 weapons with limited movesets instead of 1 weapon with a pretty decent moveset. Because Balrog has blow and kick mode, which are punching and kicking respectively. God, yeah, my audio's glitching. That kind of sucks. Usually that happens in LDK. I've never actually seen it happen without LDK active. Because I do have LDK disabled since I've run into some glitches with it. Hey, bitch. I'm gonna stick this on him and then try to Buster Arm him. Come here.
Happy birthday. Now make a wish.
Eventually you'll see me legitimately fight a Judeka. That time is not now.
How do you like this?
Mission 9 is probably going to be the first time you see me legitimately fight a Judeka, because you fight 2 at once in that.
Riding high.
And I'm not going to really be able to choose that, not without wasting half my Buster Arms. Which, considering you also fight 2 Proto-Angelos at the end of that mission, I'm going to want some. That mission, since it's a V mission, on top of the fact that it's a V mission, so it takes forever to begin with, the double Proto-Angelos towards the end especially take actual ages on this difficulty as V. I think it's unlisted, but I have a clip of like the first time I did that mission. I was basically just standing there for a minute, just pressing buttons. Because the Proto-Angelos weren't able to reach me because I was up on a ledge. And they just wouldn't die. It was not good. V is probably the weakest part about this game, but even then, I think he's about as well designed as you can get with a summoner character in this kind of game. So I do think V is well designed, it's just kind of fundamentally not a particularly good idea. I'm also not doing any secret missions. I mean, that's probably obvious by now, but there's no reason to. Music just died. Alright, thanks. You know, after this mission, if the music continues, if the audio continues to be fucked, I might just restart my game. I've only been going for an hour, so I'm not gonna like end yet. I'll probably go 2 hours roughly, which should get me to mission 10-ish. God, yeah, the audio is just completely messed up, huh? Although, apparently, the collab G-Trainer, which is how I'm getting, like, turbo and stuff, should be fixing that here soon. And that, since I'm not going to finish this tonight, but whenever I come back and finish it, assuming I don't die today, that should be updated, and that should hopefully fix that, so... But, we'll see. I have no idea when I'd be able to continue this, because I wouldn't be able to continue it immediately. Because I'm going to be, indisposed for much of the next few weeks. Or next, like, 2 weeks, really. Please die. There we go. That's kind of, that is really what I mean by the fact that the Buster Arm is just overpowered. I mean, the fact that it breaks is really the main balancing factor, and that is a good balancing actor. I mean, you can use it 8 times at most if you really want to use exclusively it, which is not generally in your best interest. Because, like, bosses and tough enemies that you really want that damage out of, you can't just up and Buster, you need to get them into a stunned state first. Which is why I used that Overture first, is that that stunned the Queen and Pusa. So I could then Buster Arm it. Yeah, there's nobody that spawn here, but I'm gonna just do this for now. Get rid of it. I'm not sure what loadout I'm gonna use for Garyon. Audio is still fucked. Cool. Thanks, game. Ow. Thought I was abusing the jumping iframes, I guess not. Also, having audio be messed up is... I mean, it's not, like, super affecting my gameplay. I mean, audio cues are very useful in this game, but they're not crucial, especially since enemies don't attack if they're off-screen. It is a little distracting, though. I cannot see. The camera is not being cooperative right now. Oh, wait, no, that's what I was talking about last mission, where if they run out of masks, nobody's going to this, like, dejected state where they take a shitload of damage and don't do anything. This is what I mean. Like, look at him, he's just cowering and running away. So I'm gonna air guitar at him. Alright. What's it? Probably the main thing that affects me when the audio glitches is that it messes with the exceed noises, which the sound is what I rely on a lot for exceeding. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother. A couple of riots spawn if you go that way, which whatever. All right, so Garyon. Genuinely not sure how I'm going to handle this fight. Because Nero does have a rough time with this fight. Once again, like, Virgil and Dante can teleport at him. Virgil especially, since Virgil does fight this guy. Dante doesn't without mods. But Nero, man. And I can't Buster him either, so that's not like a bunch of free damage. Might just go for Punchline, so that gives me a bunch of like constant damage. Punchline and a couple of ragtimes, maybe. Why am I getting... Alright, I'm getting called by... Should I answer that? You know, I'm not gonna just... Sorry, David, but I'm not gonna answer. What was I thinking? Right, Punchlines and ragtimes. I could probably get some mileage out of Gerbera for the movement, but... The rest of the Buster Arms aren't gonna do a whole lot for me, I feel. But this is like the last boss that's going to be mechanically weird for Nero. Because since Nightmare is a Dante fight, he's not as weird as Garyon and Nidhogg are. Just a bit janky and extremely hard. This fight is pretty cool though, like, as questionably functional as it is for Nero, it's a pretty good fight. If easy. This is literally the first time I did this fight I didn't get hit, so I don't think this is a hard fight as V. And I don't think playing as V is hard in general. I never died as him until I played Hell in Hell. And that's just because Hell in Hell is aptly named. It is a cool fight, though, and like I said, I haven't played DMC3, so I'm not super aware of the original Garion fight, other than it sucks. Oh Jesus! Hey, bitch! All right, yeah, that's on me. I got greedy. What if I could go for maximum bed? It's totally not worth it, but I probably could. God. Same attack, I just get greedy. Well, so now the audio's fine, so I will play a bit of... Well, Mission 6 is just Gilgamesh, so I'm really not even concerned about the audio being messed up there, because it's, well, Gilgamesh. Which is just kind of a boring fight. It's not hard, just takes a while. Next time we see this guy, it'll be a great fight, though. Cavalier Angelo is an extremely good fight. Like, Dante gets, I guess, the long end of the stick when it comes to boss fights in this game. I'd say that none of Dante's fights are bad. I don't like the Mission 12 and 17 Urizen fights very much, but they're not bad fights by any stretch. I just don't care much for them. But Cavalier, Cerberus, Virgil, and to a lesser extent Nightmare are just good fights. That move, like, instant kills the summons, even on the lower difficulties. So I don't even want to think about how much damage it would do to me. That's potentially not good. Yeah, when he does that as V, it can be difficult to get away from, which is why it's important to know that activating Nightmare gives you iframes, so you can just pull out Nightmare when you're like that when he does his attack and you'll just be fine. Like, Nightmare is, like, on DMD it kind of makes it evident. Like, DMD and Hell in Hell show how crucial Nightmare is to V, because not only does activating Nightmare give V iframes, it makes the other summons invincible, which, especially on Hell in Hell, where they also die in one hit, it is crucial. So you're going to spend a lot of time reading on those difficulties. Gonna go for the kill here. There we go. You know, if I didn't kill him there, it's very possible that hit. I don't think it would have killed me, but it would have hurt like hell. Alright, yeah. Oh, that's it for bosses that are gonna pose mechanical problems, I think. Alright, Gilgamesh. This fight sucks. This is like the only legitimately bad fight in this game. Maybe a Nidhogg. Definitely this fight. This fight's just bad. That's all I have to say, it's just bad. do I want some rank times? I definitely want to have a Buster Arm. Then I'll have a Gerber from ability. This fight blows, and it takes a while. It's an interesting concept, it's just... it's not fun.
Look at this ass prancing around. Let's get in.
Alright, well, what you're supposed to do is hit these like little glowing spots on his legs, and then snatch up. Thought I could get cute and just kind of come up directly. Oh, his legs? No. Okay, I thought his legs were already shortened, which is like a later phase.
Let's get airborne. Right now. Out of the way. Get in there. Let's get airborne. Where do you think you're going?
Yeah. I am staying on here for remarkably long.
Let's get airborne.
Normally I'd get knocked off by now in one way or another. Or he'd at least cover up his weak spot. Oh, yep, that'll happen. That was just on me. I kind of messed up. Okay, thanks, Paline. Did exactly what I wanted you to. Oh, this is good. We're getting close to when I should be able to Buster Arm him. Because around here, he'll walk over here, and then he'll get stunned for a bit, just like in part of a cutscene, because V's a bro. And then I should be able to Buster Arm him. And that should deal a pretty substantial chunk, and, well, I don't have DT, otherwise I think I'd go for a showdown first. Oh, maybe I can build some. I can't get up though. There we go, yeah, I got it. Although the ragtime breakage takes 8 years to charge. Thanks, Nils. Make me want to play FE7 again. I'm lying, I never want to play FE7 again. I think FE7 is distinctly mediocre.
Take your time.
Hot take. There we go. Solid damage.
Let's get airborne. Right now. Go, baby, go.
Next up is Mission 7, which is going to be an interesting mission. It's not... well, it's a decently lengthed mission. The boss of it's interesting in that it's basically just souped up normal enemies in the Angelo family. The Proto-Angelo in that mission is so hilariously chunky on this difficulty. However, that fight is also super cheesable with the Buster Arm, so... you can just bring 8 and you'll be fine, honestly. Ow. You wanna get out of my face, dude?
Let's get
TT. Ah, shit. Damn Beyblade hit me even though it's not active yet. Where's the Beyblade? I didn't destroy it. There it is.
Let's get airborne. Right now.
Up. Shrinking. That was a waste. I don't think Punchline... I mean, I know a lot of people really like Punchline, I just don't find it to be quite as good as most people seem to, but it is definitely one of the better devil breakers, just because it can juggle enemies. gonna hit me? Nope, Beyblade worked itself. Alright, good job. I was never a Beyblade kid anyway. Actually, I kinda was. I had a few of them. Not many, but some.
No, I agreed to splitting up. Why I gotta do all
You see what I mean, though? Like, I've taken really not a lot of damage. This fight just is kind of a slog. That shit, Beyblade. Oh. Hey, dude. There we go. Well, good to have that over with. How long did that take? Oh, I could check later. I don't have a timer on this. I forgot to even change the mission number. It doesn't matter, that mission. It's just not good. Alright, mission 7. This mission's a good time. It's a pretty simple mission, but it's nice. This mission's main gimmick normally is that you can actually play as either Nero or V, and there's a little bit of co-op. But, yeah. I could just bring 8 Gerberos, honestly. That would cheese the shit out of this mission. I'll bring a few, but I'm not gonna bring 8. I'll bring a Rawhide. And you know what? You know what? I'll bring a Tomboy. We're gonna see a little bit more of it. Actually, let's just have a variety hour. Let's just get like one of everything. Even a Helter Skelter, even though Helter Skelter is super not useful most of the time. Nero only has one gun. Whatever. Because this mission's normally kind of divergence based, it makes sense that this enemy intro isn't skipped. Which is wild, because that intro plays, and then you don't actually fight a riot yet as Nero, you fight it later in the mission. These Death Scissors spawn instead on higher difficulties. There we go, that was clean.
You can follow if you want. I'm going ahead.
As Dante, Death Scissors are, like, negligible. Because Balrog is, like, any enemy that you can parry, Balrog is just really funny. Because it's basically, like, Balrog's blow mode is basically just a constant wall of parrying if you just keep pressing it. It makes Furies easy to deal with, it makes Death Scissors easy to deal with. This mission's main gimmick is these little flesh things that spawn more enemies, but that's kind of it. I've heard them referred to as Sears catalogs. Don't ask. That was almost bad. That was almost careless as hell. I mean, he wasn't in DT, it wouldn't have hurt that much, but still. This next fight, I'm absolutely going to use the Gerbera. Because this next fight has a bunch of riots in an enclosed space. My favorite. Just already hear like 3 of them going to DT. Go away. Alright. That fight. God, Gerbera is just so good. Hey, bitch. Bye, bitch. I have 24 million red orbs. I don't need to kill that guy. Hey. Alright, see ya.
This was the right way. Nailed it. Gotta push on ahead.
Hey, bro. Yep, oh, there. Alright, hope you guys like Tomboy. Not gonna see it again for a while. Alright, time to use a move I'm not gonna use all of once more. Probably like 3 times. Maximum Bet's best use in this game probably is that it's pretty much it's like an immediate guard break, which means that if you can get it off, it actually can be pretty useful against some enemies. Namely, I think Chaoses in terms of normal enemies are the ones it's most useful against, because it like breaks their shell. But against bosses, it's mostly Cavalier that you can get some mileage out of it, because if you can pop one off and break his guard, I mean, you could just wail on him a bit.
Okay, guess I'm going down.
Man, this game's great. I love this game. It's probably the game I've played the most since your start. I haven't really touched on this, probably because I haven't really made anything since Super Thracia Overview, but Super Thracia Overview has, like, turned me off of Fire Emblem since then. I used to play it a lot, but Super Thracia just kind of killed me. Like, all I've done in terms of FE since then is that I played through FE7 Hector Hard Mode for the first time, and that's really been it. Like, I don't even think I've finished playthrough of FE12 since, which... I mean, I don't know if I ever said this in STO, but FE12 is actually my favorite one, which is also not a particularly common take, but I just like it a lot. I think it's fun. There's really not much to it. I think it's, like, difficult in a good way. Most of the time. Then there's things like Chapter 19 on high difficulties. That's actual hell. Hello, yes, it's like turn 4. You want wyverns from every corner of the map and 8 enemies from by the throne? Here you go. Lunatic Reverse is an experience that I almost feel like everyone should at least try to experience, but it is actual hell. But I do like difficulty. A lot of my favorite games are hard. I mean, my 3 favorite Fire Emblem games are FE12, Thracia, and Radiant Dawn, which are all pretty hard. Thracia is probably the easiest, considering Thracia's difficulty is primarily just that it's jank as hell, and super mean if you're blind. But the other 2 are more traditionally difficult, with tough enemies and just cruel enemy formations at times. How many times can I buster a single Antinora? Alright, this is the last normal fight of the mission coming up, so I'm probably gonna blow all my breakers. I think I will do Mission 8 and stop, since Mission 8 is pretty long, and that's like the end of the first act of the game anyway, so... Though if I'm not careful, these riots will fucking kill me. Because see, like, I'm in DT, so I haven't been getting, like, stunned by it, but they have hit me, and it does a lot.
Take your time. Help the skeleton.
Alright, well I parried, but I didn't get to capitalize on it. Death Sisters are like the only enemy you can't really buster, considering bustering them is basically just a different way of killing them once they're in this red state. Because when they're in that red state, they die from anything anyway. So bustering them is just doing it but flashier. And get out of here. Alright. Alright. There's an interesting thing about Mission 8. I mean, I probably should be saving talking about this until Mission 8. But you could skip, like, half the fights in Mission 8. There's actually, like, one area of Mission 8 that I've literally never seen because I've always avoided it. I could just bring 8 Buster Arms, but that's admittedly kind of boring, so I'll just bring 4. Nope, not Tomboy. This is the first time we're... Actually, okay, what enemy types haven't we run into yet? This is our first time running into Angelos. We'll run into our first Fury next chapter. I think we've seen everything else by now. We've seen Dejekas, we've seen... We haven't seen a lava... Well, we've actually, no, scratch that. We've seen a lava bat. Pyrobat? The big one. We fought it in Mission 4. What else haven't we? I think it really is just the Angelos and Furies. Because I think every other, like, normal... Well, non-boss enemy we've seen by now. And the Angelos. These guys. Hey V, you're gonna die in like 6 seconds. So yep. That's what I mean by like these guys are souped up. That would totally insta-kill a normal one. Instead he's left alive with a little bit. And these are the enemies that I've been talking about that... 1 second. They go into DT immediately if you break their shield. Which Maximum Bet does, so I'm not going to use that. Bye, Griffin. I probably could have used the Buster Arm for that, but whatever. This is gonna hurt. Oh yeah, that's what you like to see. He's gonna deal a shitload of damage if he hits me now, but whatever. Okay. Not quite what I was looking for. This might kill. It didn't kill. What a disappointment. There we go. Oh, that guy's taken care of. My first playthrough, because I didn't know how much of a meme the Buster Arm was, that guy took an actual, like, 5 minutes to kill. Actually, he was actually the first time I died past the prologue, my first DMD playthrough. Because I got careless, and he does, like, 8 bars when he's in DT. Ow. I'm just gonna break your shield at this rate, dude. Alright, I guess not. Alright, see ya. I think there's 2 left. Is that guy in DT? Nope, now he is. Thanks, V. Nice whiff, alright. Mission 8's the first mission we'll be seeing divinity statues, so I'm not going to be, like, setting up my breaker loadout for the entire mission at the start. Since there's, like, 3 points where you get to get more breakers. And who knows? If I get fucked up enough, maybe I'll actually remember to use Sweet Surrender this time. This should do it. Oh yeah, that's what you like to see. Alright. Yeah, this is going to be the last mission I do for tonight. I've been going for about an hour and a half. This will take a while, because this is one of the longer missions. Like, what'll be the... Actually, this actually might just be the longest mission in the game, so this is a pretty good spot to stop. Alright, trying to think about this mission's layout. I don't remember how early the first divinity statue is. Now, this is where we're going to be running into our first Fury, which I don't really... In terms of, like, Devil Breakers for them, Rawhide's probably the best bet just because it's like a parrying shield. That's not perfect, but it is mostly reliable. Otherwise, Buster Arm, just because if you can land a Buster on them, that's, you know, a lot of damage. But generally, there's not really a specific Devil Breaker that really messes up Furies. There's a couple. Nero does have Shuffle, which I've been using a few times. Not really for its intended purpose, just kind of for damage in general. But Shuffle is an incredibly safe option against Furies, and we will be seeing that because it's a one-on-one with the Fury, so I'll be using that a bit. I fear it's kind of ironic. Virgil, in general, is super busted, but like Furies, I think, are the one enemy type that he struggles with more than the other characters, just because I don't really think he has any super good options for them. Dante has multiple means of messing with them between mostly Balrog and King Cerberus, because Ice Age is literally a parrying shield that makes him invincible, and Balrog is just mostly reliable. Nero has Shuffle, which, it's very safe and it's pretty loose in the timing. V doesn't actually fight any Furies outside of Bloody Palace, so I can't really comment on him, especially since the one time I did Bloody Palace with him, I did it with the super costume and just a Nightmare active the entire time. But yeah, Virgil, not really. You just kinda have to parry them normally. Which, ironically, I think Void Slash is probably the easiest way to do that. Wow. Those guys got fucked up. This mission on LDK, which is, I mean, LDK on PC is part of a mod, but it takes actually forever in this mission. Oh, that was bad timing. It's weird. And like for a lot of basic enemies, their raw damage doesn't seem to be much higher on DMD. It's mostly once they're in DT that they become an issue. I say most. Like, I think higher tier enemies definitely do have a tangible damage increase, but more standard enemies like Antinora's, not really. Anyway, say hi to the first Fury of the game. Hey, bro. That wasn't even intentional, but I'll take it. The thing about Furies is that they are comparable to Blitzes, except unlike Blitzes, they don't have the bullshit invincible phase, and they have very clear tells, and they also don't have the desperation phase. So they are much more tolerable. Yeah, Furies really only have 3 attacks, which is based on the pose they go in beforehand. There's this one, which is they immediately lunge at you, like that. This one, they immediately lunge at you, but then they pause a bit before attacking. And then there's the one where they don't take their blade out immediately, which we might see. Yeah, this one, where they kind of like go to the side and then they come at you. So yeah, Furies are honestly remarkably straightforward once you know how to deal with them. They just kind of take a little bit because they are pretty durable and they have a lot of iframes. Like, that's really the only like annoying part about Furies to me at this point. It's just that they have a lot of iframes. Alright. Actually, we might be coming up on the first Divinity statue already. I don't remember. In part because of how long it is, I don't play this mission very often.
Where does this go?
No. Okay, no. Right. Okay, no, I know where it is. We're coming up on the fight that I've literally never done because I've skipped it every playthrough. Like, I've 170 hours and I've never done this fight. And I'm not about to change that just for the hell of it. I'm not going to do it. I've done enough optional fights up to this point that I don't feel bad about that. Alright, so you see this room, right? This room, it's pretty clear, just looking in, that the floor is going to crumble. And if it does crumble, there's something down there. I don't know what, because you can just do this.
Right now. Let's get airborne.
It's that easy. And you don't even need to do that. It doesn't crumble immediately, so you can actually jump in and like land on it. It'll spawn some enemies, but then you can jump on over here, which is what I did my first few playthroughs before I knew how much of a remarkably good mobility tool air taunting is. But yeah, I've never seen what's down there.
Going down
And
is the only way.
that's
huh?
not changing now. This next fight's pretty straightforward. I think it's just like 2 Baphomets and a Proto-Angela. And then I think it's the Divinity statue, so I'm probably not even going to drop by that. I don't think I'm going to break anything here. Fuck. I think that's both the Baphomets dead, so this guy's just gonna take like another minute. Too early. Come on. Come on. Ow. I meant to shuffle there. Okay. You know, I'm actually at risk of dying now. Woo! This is what I mean by, DT'd enemies are super dangerous. How much health you got? You can't have much. Okay, you got 43. I can probably just, like, oh, okay, please. I am absolutely stopping by that Divinity statue now for some sweet surrenders. Okay, well, that's why you don't get careless in DMD, kids. Fucking like 11 bars. Goddamn.
This again. Where's he gonna take
Grab
me
like
now?
2 sweet surrenders. Thing is that the next fight has a behemoth, which, in an enclosed space, which is extremely dangerous. Especially once you get to DT. Like, I died, honestly, this room, with the behemoth, I died like 3 times my first playthrough. Just because the behemoth in an enclosed space is comically dangerous. But it's otherwise... Actually, I could just bring like a Buster Arm. Bring an Overture and a Buster Arm, I think. Then... a couple Gerbras. Another Buster Arm for the hell of it, and an Overture.
Devil's right.
You can skip this fight too, but I am actually not going to. It would be much safer if I did, but what's the fun in that? Thanks, Nico. Yeah, the behemoth doesn't spawn immediately. There he is. How you doing, big fella? And just like that, he's dead. There we go. Buster Arm is pretty busted, believe it or not. Keep getting hit by fucking Impuses of all things. Hey, wow, you're tall. Never realized how tall the Impuses were. another thing I miss whenever I play DMC4 is Bringer Knuckle. It doesn't make that much of an impact because most of the time I use Bringer Knuckle, which is the little fist that came out. It's pretty much just instinctive, considering I have it next to my melee button. So I pretty much just press it like at the same time whenever I do moves like that. But that's not in 4, and it's really not that game-breaking, game-changing. It just is weird to not have, because it's like a little bit of extra damage and kind of keeps the enemy close to you.
Run from this! Out of my way, win!
Occurs to me that I haven't changed the mission number. Weird time to do it, considering I'm actually towards the end of this mission, but, you know. Never said my memory was good. It's horrible, actually. My memory blows. I kind of wish I had like a controller camera for this. I mean, it's not like my movements are all that insane compared to like top level play for this game, but it still would be like interesting to show, I think. Anyway, eat shit and die. That should be it. I think that's the last mandatory fight of the mission. So it's gonna be Urizen, which is another. You have to break the crystal, which I mean I did in the prologue, so that's not going to be an issue, especially since he does less damage this time. But then there's the second phase, which is effectively Mission 12 Urizen, except he does unholy amounts of damage as well. And you're supposed to die there, and so I'll, I guess, die there, lose the challenge, clearly. And then I'll call it for the night. Yeah, this is the end of the mission.
Finally made it. Now, about that payback.
Yeah, I'll just grab like a ragtime, something like that. Film. Okay, guess I'm not. Since Nico's not here and I can't use the phone. Alright, oh, that's an unexpected, a little bit of challenge. I might be able to continue this tomorrow night, but after that it's probably going to be a while. So I might fish for that. Actually, yeah, I might try to finish it tomorrow night. I don't think there's any explicit reason why I can't.
Think it's good to be king, huh? Not for much longer.
At least finish the main story. Bloody Palace, and then happen like 2 weeks later or something. But who knows, maybe I'll die in Mission 12 and cut it short. Maybe I'll be bad and die in Mission 10. Showdown shreds the crystal pretty well, which is why I wanted to grab a ragtime. But I should be fine anyway, honestly. Like, it's already down to like half. Mission 12 I am concerned about because he does still a lot of damage there, and his attacks are pretty difficult to dodge. But that fight also does take a while. Not as long as the Mission 17 fight. Mission 17 fight, I stand by my he's too chunky. Like, I don't enjoy Mission 17 because of how unholy thick he is. And so, like, I think he has additional damage reduction on top of having pretty high health in that mission. Does this skip the scripted loss since I have Divergence, or no? No, it doesn't. Alright, and then now we're at the point where I'm supposed to die, but like the prologue, we'll see how far I can take it. This attack, that attack, I am remarkably bad at avoiding. Shuffle is a kind of reliable way of handling it, and I'm dead. Yeah, like I said, scripted death, so that's that. And that's it for the night. So, first 8 missions with relative ease. I almost died to Nidhogg, which I didn't, so there's that. I would never have been able to live it down if I did die to him. Yeah, first 8 missions went pretty well. Well, 9 technically if you count the prologue, but I wouldn't really. That said, I have died in the prologue before, so I guess I should. But yeah, that's first 8 missions. 9, not 8.5. We'll call it there. 8.5. I'll call it there. To the anyone who watches this or like the VOD, I think the VOD is gonna go up. Hope you enjoyed it. See you around. I might come back tomorrow. I don't know. Well, it'll be like a last minute decision if I do.